So this is the last episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this so far. I'm sorry it took so much of your time. Um, I think by the end of this, you'll have understood the most important basics and concepts regarding nutrition training. So if you guys have any suggestions for other topics you'd like me to talk about, then send me a DM about that. So this episode is about intermittent fasting and ketogenic diet because I get too many questions about them. Before I get to each one specifically, I would like to say that every diet out there depends on the amount of calories you're consuming. So whatever your goal is, if your goal is to lose weight, for example, and you're on intermittent fasting or ketogenic diet, you need to be in a caloric deficit, and that is consuming less calories than your body needs to maintain its weight. So that's the first thing I'd like to say. Just because you're doing intermittent fasting or ketogenic diet does not mean that you're going to lose weight. It just means that it's a convenient way for you to be in a caloric deficit and therefore burn more calories and lose more weight. So let's start first with intermittent fasting. It basically means that you fast from food, from calories, and not from liquids, not from no calorie food like lettuce, cucumbers, diet sodas, coffee, tea without sugar and milk. So you can still consume these for a period of time, followed by a period of time where you break your fast and you consume all your calories within that period. So usually it's a 16-hour versus 8-hour window. So you fast for 16 hours, you train fasted, and then you break your fast and you eat all your calories. The benefits of this method is that it's convenient for those who like don't want to eat small meals amount during the day. So what happens with intermittent fasting is that you consume all your calories within a very short time. So you get to enjoy bigger and more satisfying meals. So instead of having 2,000 calories over 15-16 hour periods, you are having 2,000 calories in 8 hours. So that's the benefit of it that I find myself. Also, if you're worried about feeling hungry or low in energy during the day, then trust me, once you try this, you will see that the first few days are going to be difficult, and then you immediately get used to it. And in fact, you will get so used to it that you won't be able to have breakfast anymore and then go do something. So you need to do everything fasted. That's what I'm doing now. No matter what, even if I'm not doing intermittent fasting, even if I'm bulking or anything, I just can't eat in the morning and do something because I just got so used to intermittent fasting. So don't worry about the energy, don't worry about the mood, don't worry about anything. You will be fine if that's the perfect way for you to lose weight, then don't worry about that. It's a good method as well for those who are consuming a very low amount of calories. Again, because your meals are going to be more satisfying. Just because you're fasting does not mean your body is running on fat for fuel. That's something that I would like to explain to people. It requires, it's a very complicated process, and that's going to be my introduction to ketogenic diet as well. Your body uses glucose for energy. That's the first source of energy. And then when the glucose in the blood reaches levels that your body doesn't want to go any lower than that, it breaks down the glycogen in your muscles to convert it into glucose by a process called glycogen lysis, where the glycogen is converted into glucose and used as energy. And then your body goes through two different pathways, and that is gluconeogenesis, where the amino acids are converted into glucose and used for energy, and you have lipolysis, where your body breaks down the fat cells in your fat stores in your body into free fatty acids, and which are used for energy. In ketogenic diet, when your body cannot use free fatty acids for a long time, and in fact, your brain can't get energy from free fatty acids. So your body converts them in a process called ketogenesis, where it converts the free fatty acids into ketone bodies, which can be used for energy. So that's the whole point of a ketogenic diet. It is meant for you to reach that stage. So you stop eating carbohydrates, you stop eating glucose, and you keep your protein levels low, so that your body goes for fat as the main source of fuel first, instead of glucose, instead of glycogen, and so on and so forth. So some people believe that has some health and fat loss benefits. It does not have any fat loss benefits over any other method of dieting that involves you staying in a caloric deficit. However, being in a ketogenic diet, you get less cravings, and you get more energy and less appetite. That's something that many people report while being on a ketogenic diet. So it's might worth considering if you're having problems with these issues. Now, another point to mention is that on a ketogenic diet, you say that you're consuming 2,000 calories to be on a deficit. So you're only allowed like 10 to 20 grams of carbohydrates, and you're not allowed too much protein. That's another mistake I see people doing on a ketogenic diet, and that is consuming too much protein. As much as you want to do that to maintain your muscle mass, but as long as your body is using fat for fuel, and you're training and sleeping well, your body is not going to break down those amino acids from your muscles. What's going to happen is that if you're consuming too much protein, what's going to happen is that you're going to break the ketosis, and your body's going to use those amino acids from the protein that you're consuming and converts it into glucose, and that returns the energy source, the main energy source, to be your glucose again. So you don't want that to happen. You want most of your calories to come from fat. Yes, the fat you eat is going to be your fuel. It's not going to be stored if you're in a caloric deficit, and you can basically have anything that has lots of fat, medium protein, and low carbs. That's the ketogenic diet. It's a high fat, medium protein, low carb diet. Well, an example of a ketogenic diet would be, say, 1,800 calories, 120 grams of fat, 100 grams of protein, and say 20 grams of carbs a day. That's what you can have. The best foods to eat to be in a ketogenic diet are oils, avocados in a very small amount because they have carbs, nuts in a very small amount because they have carbs, butters, bacon, meats, those kind of stuff. So if that works for you, I personally tried it and I couldn't stand the food that I ate. I'm a carb person. I like to eat carbs. I'm not a huge fan of fat, so it didn't really work out very well for me. But if it works out well for you and you find it enjoyable, then why not? But I'm just explaining here the basic science behind those two methods, and when you understand the science behind it, it becomes much easier to stick to it and much easier to understand why you're doing it and how to do it properly. So those are my 2 cents on some of the biggest topics in nutrition and training. If you guys have any suggestions, please DM me again. Thank you very much for listening, and have a good day.